Part 3 of Guide to Invocations of the Insurrection Act provided by the Brennan Center of Justice. It's important to note that my previous 2 videos about invocations for the Insurrection Act were originally using the Calling Forth Act of 1792, which had allowed for federalization of state militias. And then this is replaced by the Insurrection Act of 1807. So this part is the official first-time use of the new federal law, the Insurrection Act of 1807. So, April 19th, 1808, President Thomas Jefferson. Affected area is around Lake Champlain in Vermont. Did I say that right? I don't know. The guide states that President Thomas Jefferson invoked the Insurrection Act in an ultimately futile effort to stop pervasive violations of the Embargo Act of 1807 in the area around Lake Champlain in Vermont, where many residents' livelihoods depended on trade with Canada. Okay, quick little research using wikipedia.com. Embargo Act of 1807. It was a general trade embargo on all foreign nations that was enacted by the United States Congress. It represented an escalation of attempts to persuade Britain to stop any impressment of American sailors and to respect American sovereignty and neutrality, but also attempted to pressure France and other nations in the pursuit of general diplomatic and economic leverage. During the Napoleonic Wars, rival nations, Britain and France, targeted neutral American shipping as a means of disrupting the trade of the other nation. American merchantmen who were trading with, quote, enemy nations were seized as contraband of war by European navies. The British Royal Navy had impressed American sailors who had either been British-born or previously served on British ships, even if they now claimed to be American citizens. So Congress imposed the embargo in direct response. President Thomas Jefferson recognized that the United States was militarily far weaker than either Britain or France. He recommended that Congress respond with commercial warfare. So this restriction on foreign trade really hurt some of the residents in the Lake Champlain region, particularly those along the border with British-controlled Lower Canada, and they continued to engage in trade with British citizens, effectively defying the embargo. In response to those violations, he invoked the Insurrection Act and mobilized the Army and the Navy to enforce the embargo and quell the perceived insurrection in the Lake Champlain region. Despite efforts to enforce the embargo, it proved unpopular and economically damaging, leading to its repeal in 1809. So interestingly, the first official use of the Insurrection Act of 1807 was essentially futile, because foreign trade ended up being essential to American livelihood.